I am Reed. I am 27. Just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. All right, let's get into it. I have been thinking about this topic for a long time because honestly, when I look back at my early 20s, I cringe so hard. Like physically cringe. I made so many dumb decisions, and I watched the people around me make the same dumb decisions over and over again. And the thing is, most of us don't realize how much these years matter until we already passed them. Your 20s are like this weird window where you can either set yourself up for a solid life or you can set yourself back by years, maybe even a decade, and nobody tells you that when you are 21. So I want to break down 6 mistakes I personally made or watched my friends make, and I want to give you the real talk that I wish someone had given me back then. Mistake number 1, getting a bad college degree, and I know this one hits a nerve because I lived it. I started college majoring in chemistry, and I remember sitting in class one day looking at the board and thinking to myself, what am I even doing here? I did the math, 4 years of undergrad, then probably another 4 to 6 years of grad school or pharmacy school just to make a decent salary. And I asked myself, do I even like studying this much? The answer was no, I hated it, so I switched. And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. But a lot of people don't do that. They just pick a major because it sounds interesting or because their parents pushed them or because they didn't know what else to do. And they end up with $40, $50, $60,000 in debt and a degree that pays $35,000 a year if they re-lucky. That math does not work. I don't care what anyone tells you. In America, college is insanely expensive. You need to treat it like an investment. What is the return on this degree? How much will you actually earn after graduation? Do you need a Master S or a PhD to make real money? Could you get the same job by going to a trade school or a community college? For a fraction of the cost? These are uncomfortable questions, but you have to ask them. I am not saying liberal arts degrees are worthless in some spiritual sense. I think studying philosophy or art history can be beautiful and enriching, but if you are taking out loans to do it, you need to have a plan for how you are going to pay them back. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for decades of stress. And also stop feeling pressured to go to a 4-year university just because that is what everyone does. Trade school is a legit amazing option. Electricians, plumbers, welders can make serious money and they don't have student loan debt. I have friends who went to trade school and they are doing better financially than most of my friends who went to traditional colleges. So think strategically. Your degree is not a personality trait, it is a tool. Choose one that actually works. Mistake number 2, making your life too expensive too fast. Oh man, this one hurts to talk about because I watch so many people fall into this trap right after graduation. You get your first real job. You are making $40, $50, $60,000 a year maybe, and suddenly you feel rich. You've never had that much money before. So what do? You go out and buy a $30,000 car, you sign a lease for a $1,600 apartment, you buy a whole new wardrobe, and suddenly your entire paycheck is gone before you even get it. I did the opposite, and I am not saying I was perfect. I made plenty of mistakes. But on this one, I kind of stumbled into the right approach. I bought a used car for $4,000 cash. I kept my rent low. I actually lived with my parents for a few years, which people made fun of me for, but you know what? That decision probably saved me tens of thousands of dollars. And because I kept my cost low, I was able to save money, build an emergency fund, and actually have financial freedom. Meanwhile, a lot of my friends who bought into the expensive lifestyle were living paycheck to paycheck, even though they were making good money. They had the nice car and the nice apartment, but they had zero savings, zero investments, and a ton of stress. And here's the thing nobody talks about. Once you get used to that expensive lifestyle, it is really hard to go back. You get trapped, you can quit your job, you can take a risk. You can start a business because you need that $60,000 paycheck to pay for your $30,000 car. So keep your fixed costs low while you can. Have fun, spend money on experiences and things that actually matter to you, but be cheap in the areas that don't matter. That boring financial discipline in your early 20s is what gives you freedom in your 30s. Mistake number 3, dating without intention. This one is personal for me. When I was in college, I dated a girl for 3 years, and honestly, about halfway through that relationship, I knew deep down she wasn't the one. But I stayed. Why? Comfort, convenience. Fear of being alone. Hope that things would change. Looking back, that was such a waste of time, not just for me, but for her too. We both could have grown so much more if we had ended things earlier, and I see this happen all the time. People in their early 20s get into relationships that have no future, and they just drift along for years, or worse, they get into situationships. You know what I am talking about? That weird, undefined thing where you are kind of together, but not really, and nobody knows what is going on, and you are just stuck in this limbo of emotional confusion. I see so many people waste their entire early 20s in these shallow connections that go nowhere. And look, I am not saying every relationship has to end in marriage. There is value in learning what you want and what you don't want, but you should be intentional about it. Date with purpose. Get to know different people. Figure out what qualities actually matter to you in a long-term partner. Don't just stay with someone because it is comfortable or because you are afraid of being single. Your 20s are prime time for meeting people and building something real. Don't waste that on dead-end situations. Mistake number 4, not taking risks while you can. This is a big one. In your early 20s, you have basically zero responsibilities. No mortgage, no wife, no kids, no major expenses. You are healthy, you have energy. This is literally the best time in your life to take big risks. I am talking about moving to a new city, starting a business, backpacking through Europe for a summer, quitting your job to pursue something you are passionate about. I know a few friends who got married and had kids in their mid-20s, and now they can do any of that stuff. They have to support a family, they need stability, they need a steady paycheck, and that is fine if that is what you want. But if you have dreams that require some risk, you need to pursue them. Now, later in life, the stakes get higher, the consequences get bigger, the window closes. I look back at my early 20s and I wish I had taken more risks. I was too scared, too worried about playing it safe, and yeah, I saved money and made decent choices, but I also missed out on opportunities that I never get back. So take the trip, start the side hustle, apply for that job in another country. You have the rest of your life to be responsible. Your 20s are for being a little irresponsible in the right ways. Mistake number 5, not developing useful skills. This one is so underrated in your 20s. People kind of expect you to be an idiot. I call it the idiot pass. You are new to everything. Nobody expects you to know what you are doing yet. And that is actually a huge advantage because you can make mistakes and learn without people judging you too harshly. Use this time to build skills that actually make you money. I am talking about coding, graphic design, video editing, public speaking, sales, writing, fixing things around the house. These skills compound over time. The more you learn in your 20s, the more valuable you become in your 30s and 40s. I personally learned to code, nothing fancy, just enough to write silly little programs for companies. But that skill alone has kept me employed for 6 years. I am not a genius. I just learned something useful and kept getting better at it. And I see so many people in their 20s who never develop any real skills. They coast through their job doing the bare minimum and they don't learn anything new outside of work. And then they hit their 30s and they restuck. They have no marketable skills, no side income, no way to pivot if their industry changes. Don't be that person. Be curious. Learn things. You'd rather be a useful 40-year-old than a useless one. And mistake number 6, partying too much. Okay, look, I am not saying don't have fun. I partied my fair share in my early 20s. I went to bars, I got drunk, I did all the dumb stuff people do, and some of it was fun, but here's the thing, nobody tells you that lifestyle gets old really fast, and it is actually terrible for you in so many ways. Physically, your hangovers get worse as you get older. Mentally, the anxiety of wondering what you said or did the night before just drains you, and financially going out is insanely expensive. A single drink in a city costs $10–15. You go out for a night and you've spent $100 easy, and for what? A few hours of being drunk and then a whole day of feeling terrible. I realized at some point that if getting drunk on the weekend was the only thing I was looking forward to in my life, that was a huge red flag. It meant I wasn't building anything meaningful. I was pursuing anything that actually mattered to me. I was just numbing myself. So I cut way back. I started drinking in moderation. I focused my weekends on things that actually added value to my life. Reading, working on side projects, spending time with people who actually matter, and my quality of life went way up. You don't have to quit partying completely, but if you are spending every weekend getting wasted, ask yourself, what are you running from? What are you avoiding? Your 20s are too short to spend them hungover on a couch. So those are the 6 mistakes: bad degrees, expensive lifestyles, dead-end relationships, not taking risks, not learning skills, and partying too much. I made most of these mistakes myself, and I am still paying for some of them. But the good news is you can avoid them if you catch yourself early. The tiny decisions you make today really do add up over time. They set the trajectory for your entire life, so think carefully about where you are headed, be honest with yourself, and make choices that your future self will thank you for. Peace.